What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. And we're going to be doing another in-depth review today for the PvE value of Jean Grey. So here we have my Jean Grey. She's going to be rocking the Marvel Girl uniform for this review here. Of course, she does have another uniform available to her, but her Marvel Girl look is going to be better for PvE content. The X-Men Red is going to be a little bit better for PvP content. So that's the one we're going to be looking at today. My uniform is at Legendary. I never bothered to get the last step there for Mythic just because I am missing the last uniform option. Oh, if we can check there. So I just never got around to actually doing that. The uniform options for her are Captain Marvel's Endgame. We have Namor's Phoenix 5. We have Ronin Endgame. Or Hawkeye's Ronin uniform for Endgame, and then we have Thanos Infinity War, and then you saw we had Human Torch Future Foundation as the last one there. So we'll go over my build here for my Jean. I do have her at tier 3, as you saw. We do have some Uru equipped on her. We have mainly Legendary, and then we have a few Odin's Blessings kind of sprinkled in there. Her skills, we have all of her skills fully leveled up. Her skills mainly consist of mind and the 1 fire damage, so you can use a mind damage or a fire damage obelisk on her if you so choose. The fire damage obelisk will be a little more beneficial just because her tier 3 is going to be her most damaging skill. And then she has mind damage here on the first skill, which has some mind resistance down. Her second skill has the time freeze mechanic, which is quite nice. So we have 3 seconds of control there. The third skill, we have some accumulation and healing and also mind resist down. So the third skill is going to be very, very powerful skill for her. It also gives her a guard hit. So yeah, that skill has a lot going on for it. The fourth skill here, we have some paralyze that ignores immunity. So we have a little bit more control that we can take advantage of. We've got the 3 seconds of, the 3 seconds of time freeze here on the second skill, 2 seconds of paralyze here. And then if we move over to the fifth skill, we have a pretty big buff going on here with a 45% increase to all attack and defense, 10% all speed, and a big 45% crit rate boost. And also, it gives her 10 seconds of penetration, which is mainly just going to be used in PvP content, so you're not really going to notice this much in PvE, but it is also very nice because where I did say that her X-Men Red look is better for PvP, her Marvel Girl look is still very powerful for PvE or PvP content. Yeah, so that's the skills. Her tier 3 here. It's got silence there that you can take advantage of for those days on ABX. This particular rotation for ABX is going to be susceptible to paralyze, which she has here on her 4th skill, so she is still available for this rotation as well. So you can use her for 2 rotations, the paralyze and the silence phase, and then I've forgotten already, but I believe there's one where they have to be inflicted by burn, which I believe we have burn here, and I think they switched these. They no longer have burn on any of these now that they do mind damage, right? Yes, correct. So you would, oh, actually, there we go. We have burn on our first skill. So that's actually really nice because then we can just use that skill because that's not mainly when you're going to be using in her rotation. So that's pretty nice. And of course, she has a revive as well from her 4-star passive here. Her leadership, she's a debuff lead, so she has a lot going on for her. Her tier 2 passive here, she has a 50% increase to all resistances, so she's very, very tanky for elemental damage, so she can tank elemental damage very well. She has increased to skill and bonus damage there and decreases damage received, so overall Jean is just a very powerful character. The isolate set that I have on her is Overdrive, and I do have it fully awakened. The obelisk I have is just a regular obelisk, so I do not have ACTP on her, and it is a fire damage recovery 200% proc, and she's been doing everything just fine for me with this obelisk on, so that's why I've never felt the need to switch it out. But for the purpose of this video, keep in mind that I do just have an obelisk on her, so you can get more damage out of her if you're using ACTP of energy, ACTP of rage, or even ACTP of judgment, because her main skills are elemental damage here. The 4 and 5 are elemental, and then of course her tier 3, so you can use that as well. I already showed the uniform, so that's going to be my build here. If we take a look at the details, you can see her attack speed is, I believe she gets 10%, so her attack speed will be maxed out after the buff from the 5th skill. Her crit rate will be maxed out as well after the buff from the 5th skill, which is going to be up the entire fight. And then we have crit damage, which is a little bit low there, could be a bit better. Our ignore defense and skill cooldown are maxed out, so that's right where we want to be. And then you can see her energy attack is all the way up to 50,000, which is quite nice. Actually, do I have her on a team right now? Oh, I do. Let's switch that over. That could be throwing off the values there. So let's switch back over. Oh no, it's still 50,000, and she has almost 50,000 HP, which is really nice as well. All right, so last thing that we're going to do here before hopping into some gameplay to see some numbers here is to go into the skill preview, and I'll just show you my preferred skill rotation for the Marvel Girl look here for Jean Grey. So the rotation that I like to use is I just do instant cancel on the 5th skill, get that up, and boom, just go into the 4th skill, and that's where my damage proc should go off. And then after that, I go into the time freeze here, and then I go into the 3rd skill to get all of those buffs up and that healing. And then I just kind of repeat the rotation. I kite around for a little bit because you usually have some downtime. And then as soon as you have a second left on the 4th skill, or wait until it's completely off of cooldown, you just do the same rotation there. And then you go to the 2nd skill, and then you can use the 1st skill because generally your 3rd skill will not be off of cooldown yet. So you can just kind of rotate through, do 2-1 or 2-3, whichever one is available. And then when you have your tier 3 available to you, I just do the same thing with the 5th skill, and then I go right into the tier 3 skill. So that's my general rotation there for Jean. And it's very damage proc friendly. You don't really have to worry too much about missing your proc, mainly because you cancel this so early there. You can cancel it almost immediately. There are very few times where I do actually have my proc go off from just this like one hit right there when I'm trying to cancel into the 4th skill, which can be a little annoying, but it's pretty rare. So that's the rotation I like to use with her. So let's go ahead and hop into some of the content here and see how she performs. Alright, so here we are loading into the Galactus fight. I am using just that standard team up that I said I was going to use with all the characters to get a kind of baseline, and that is a 45% lead in the form of Medusa for this particular run, and then we have one support, and that is going to be Shuri. This is not the optimal team up for her, so definitely don't go with this team if you can use some better options, but this is what we are using here for this clear. And of course with the obelisk there, as you saw, I do not have guard break immunity or super armor, so I can't really just tank any of these hits here. I've got to be careful about that because it'll cancel out my attack. I don't have to worry about getting hit though, just because of the healing that Jean has. Her healing is quite substantial, so I don't have to worry about that. Alright, let's see if we can do a nice tier 3 here. There we go, we got our tier 3 going off. Our tier 3 does give us invincibility, so we don't have to worry about that. The damage is looking pretty good so far. We do have just two pretty random teammates here, which I'm kind of sorry that I'm going to be leaving them partway through because I do have to quit out of this fight so that I can do another Galactus run with the optimal team for her, because I'm going to do just the standard team right here, and then I'm going to do a fight with the kind of optimal team for her, so the best lead and the best support. So yeah, sorry to these guys if they were expecting a clear here. I'm mainly just going to go for probably about 5 minutes, I think, and then I will cancel out. I'll look at the damage, see how much she did in 5 minutes, and then I will switch over to the other team. There we go. Alright, another tier 3 is going to go off here. Doing pretty good. Okay. Or maybe I'll play this through enough to where maybe they can finish off Galactus at the end. Well, they're not even by the 70. I don't know if they could. So yeah, I'm just going to skip ahead now to when I get to the results that I want. Alright, so as you saw there, she was able to actually solo the Galactus. I did end up finishing it out and quitting at the last second just so those two guys with me could get the clear, just in case they were still going for Silver Surfer or something like that. I didn't really want to kind of screw them over there. But now we're going to be using the more optimal team. So with that previous team, she was doing about 10.4 million damage per minute. So actually very, very nice. So now with Nick Fury and Dazzler here, I think this is going to be the more optimal or the most optimal team up for her. I could be wrong, I could be missing someone, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the best team for her, because one, she gets super armor from Nick Fury. We have Nick Fury's lead and his support. Then Dazzler is going to give the biggest boost to her in terms of support because she is a mutant, so she can take advantage of, oh my gosh. Okay, it still went through. I really hate that delay because I was trying to cancel it into the tier 3 skill and then it just wasn't registering my touch on the screen. I have that happen a lot where I'm like hitting the button and it just doesn't do anything. It's like it's, I don't know, not registering my finger or whatever, but yeah, it can be a little, or it could be the heat from the phone, because when I have it plugged in and recording, sometimes my phone can get pretty warm. So that could be it actually, now that I think about it. Because the heat can sometimes mess up your the touch registration, because your phone gets warm and it's just as warm as your fingers, so it doesn't register the touch. Or at least I think that's how it works. Don't claim to be an expert on that or anything. But yeah, so now we're just going to let her do her thing here with this particular team up. I'm going to check the damage at different intervals here because I don't want to accidentally clear it, but it looks like we're going to be on a good pace here that it'll at least take 5 or more minutes. So we'll cut ahead now until, oh wow, we got one shot. But anyway, she'll revive. So I'll cut ahead now until the point where we can get a good gauge of how she does. Alright, so that was Jean Grey against Galactus there for Giant Boss Raid. As you can see, she is very, very strong and a very good option for Giant Boss Raid. She's able to solo Galactus quite easily with the kind of 45% and just one support. She was able to do almost 10.5 million, 10.4 million damage per minute. And then we went to a more optimal team here with Nick Fury and Dazzler to help her out. She was able to do up to 15 million damage per minute. And again, that is for my build and my particular Jean. You can take a look at how that compares to other characters as I kind of progress this series here, because there will be a link to the spreadsheet in the description below once I start getting more characters set up. So in these first couple of videos here, so if you're watching this around release, that spreadsheet probably won't be up yet, but it will be edited to be added or updated in the description once I have more characters to compare to. Yeah, so that's how she did in GBR. So let's move on to the next game mode. Alright, so here we are at World Boss Ultimate. We're going to be taking her in against Cold Obsidian Stage 60. That seems to be about as high as I can take her with my current build. We're using the same team up that you saw in GBR, or at least for her optimal team up, and that's going to be Nick Fury and Dazzler. Nick Fury's super armor is really, really valuable for her, especially in World Boss Ultimate. And then Dazzler, of course, we have that 60%, is it? I think it's 60% boost there. We just have some standard strikers here. The only one that is really needed or noteworthy here is going to be Nimrod, and Nimrod is for the all defense down because she doesn't have all defense down, so that way we can use an all defense down striker. Besides that, it's just any attack increase strikers that you like. These are just the ones that I happen to have here, so these are the ones I'm taking in, so there's no particular reason why I'm using those other 4 strikers. Alright, so we're going to just be using the same rotation that I've been using for Jean Grey, and then we're just going to see how quickly she can get through Cold Obsidian here. Alright, so as you can see, the damage does look a little bit low. She is able to beat this stage, though. I have already, oh, we got Blade Twister. I have already tested it, so I have seen her actually clear this stage. She was able to clear it with about 30 seconds to 40 seconds left on the clock, so it is going to be almost the entire time here. And then in contrast, I tried her out on a stage 65. No, is it 70 did I go all the way up to? Either 65 or 70 I tried her out on, and she ran out of time, and Cold Obsidian had 3 bars left. So that's what I think. This is just about the limit for her in terms of how high she can go. Again, with my current build, if you have like a CTP of Rage on her, of course you're going to be able to go higher if you gave her more Odin's Blessings. If you have better comic cards than me, then you can get a little bit more out of your Jean. But this is just how she performs for me in World Boss Ultimate. Take advantage of our invincibility here, and it looks like he teleported away, so we lost a bit of that damage there, but that is fine. So I'll just go ahead and skip forward a little bit here, more towards the end of the battle, so you can see that she is able to actually... Oh, why do we have our Obelisk proc there randomly? Anyway, I'll see you a little bit further down the line in this fight here. Alright, so there we go. As you can see, we have 2 bars left. We have a minute on the clock here. So she is able to kind of clear this. We got time frozen there with about, yeah, like 40 seconds on the clock. Is going to kill him? I don't think it is, but I'm going to back out anyway, just because we're going to be testing her out against Ebony as well. So yeah, as you can see, about 30 to 40 seconds left on the clock there for her to beat a stage 60 for me. So it's actually quite nice, because Cole is a little bit tougher to kind of take down in terms of having enough DPS, because he cleanses a lot and he just has high resistances in general, even though of course his physical resistances are highest, but he's still tough for even some energy characters, or definitely elemental characters, because he has more elemental resist as well. So that's kind of why she's a little bit slower here against Cold Obsidian, but still a stage 60 is quite respectable. And also she is a very safe character to play. She has really good survivability, so she's going to be a nice clear in terms of not having to worry too much about keeping her alive. So let's go ahead and move over to Ebony here, and she can go a little bit higher on Ebony. About stage 70 is where I was kind of capping off with her. Stage 80 she was running out of time, and stage 70 here, I don't remember exactly how much time she had at the end of the clock. I'm using the same kind of team there, or strikers I mean, but I think it was like a minute or something left on the clock, so she might have been able to go a little bit higher. So between 70 and 80 is about where she's going to fall for me on Ebony here. I'll just show you a little bit of the fight here just to show you the damage, but I have seen her clear this stage, and she did have time left on the clock, so that's why I was saying she might... Oh, yeah, time frozen right away. So that's why I'm saying she might have a little bit more in the tank in terms of going up higher on the stages. And Ebony has just canceled out both of my skill rotations from my damage proc so far. So that's fantastic. Can we at least get the tier 3 to hit? Got no damage proc, but there we go. As you can see, we're getting some more damage in now. But yeah, he can be a little annoying, so you want to make sure that you're kind of locking him down, which you can't really use mind control strikers or crowd control strikers with Jean here, because she has 2 of those mechanics built into her skill set. Her second skill has time freeze, and her 4th skill has paralysis that ignores immunity, so you don't really want to be using any of those. And there's the tier 3 there. Playing really horrible here, but she is able to clear this stage, and this is about where she sits for me. So I guess you'll just have to take my word for that, since Ebony is not cooperating and letting me get any kind of good hits in here against him. But yeah, so that's going to be about her War Boss Ultimate value in terms of these bosses here. So let's get one more tier 3 in, and then we can move on to the next step, or the next area for her. And he teleported away, so we're not getting any damage. So yeah, let's just move on to the next area here. Alright, so here we are. It's a Alliance Battle Extreme. We have the female universal day or female superhero universal day, and then paralysis or paralyze is the boss's weakness. So Jean works just fine here because you saw she has paralysis on her 4th skill, so we can use that to interrupt the frost beast. And then this is the team that we're going to end up using here. We have Medusa as kind of the best lead out of all of these characters. You could use Satana, but that's only going to affect her tier 3 skill. So if you want to kind of get extra damage out of her standard skill rotation, then you'll just use Medusa here for the all attack for universal types. And then we have Phyla-Vell for her tier 2 passive, which is going to give a 30% increase to all attack because Jean already has bonus in skill damage, so we're not going to be able to take advantage of that. So let's go ahead and hop in here and we can see what kind of score Jean will put up. All right, let's switch on over and start doing some DPS here. Yeah, we don't have Nick Fury here, so we got to make sure that we don't get guard broken too often because we don't have that super armor to keep us from getting guard broken here. Alright, so far so good. Try to time my attacks a little bit here with the Frost Beast, but again, I don't claim to be a good ABX player. I'm not great on my timing or avoiding the attacks because I just kind of go in there and spam my skills, do my skill rotation, and just do as much damage as I can that way. Whereas it'd probably be a little bit better if I paid attention to what attacks the Frost Beast was doing and tried to dodge those. But yeah, again, I don't really focus too much on that, so keep that in mind when you see this clear, and I just messed this up. So the Frost Beast speed has increased, so luckily I don't think that's going to affect our score overall in terms of the damage. At least I don't think so. What does the speed do? The speed is just his like attack speed and attack pattern, right? It's not going to affect his defenses. So yeah, I need to make sure that I have the 4th skill available when he's going to... Come on, use... There we go. When he's going to do his buff up attack. Which, is he going to do it now? I think he might be. Yep, there we go. So now we can cancel him out of there. There we go. Wait, Frost Beast speed increased yet again. Okay, why is the paralysis not working? The paralysis hits at the very start of her 4th skill. So it's right when she kind of like teleports over to the enemy, or teleports kind of behind them. As she like teleports through them, that applies the paralyze. So maybe I have to get a little bit closer to the Frost Beast or something like that. But either way, it doesn't seem to be affecting our score this time around, because for some reason all he's doing is buffing his speed. Is it random or... Okay, let's... There we go. So, wait, this boss's speed increased significantly. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not working, because she definitely has paralysis on her 4th skill. Either way, his defense isn't going up, so it seems like we're still doing the normal amount of damage here. But yeah, I'm not sure why we're not actually canceling out his buff there. Really confused on that. So, alright, well, 1.8, almost 1.9 million. So that would... Okay, so she actually did put up a better score there when I was able to cancel out the Frost Beast from his buffing stage, which again, it just said attack increase, but it looks like it did increase his defenses as well, because we did about an extra 40 or 400,000 or something like that. So yeah, not bad. That did get her actually a little bit higher than Medusa, I believe, for the score, which is actually pretty cool. But Medusa also has a 200% damage proc on her as well. So they're both Obelisk users. They don't have CTPs on. So yeah, it looked like the trick to it was I just had to use the 4th skill right next to the Frost Beast. So I had to be right up on the Frost Beast, use the 4th skill, and then the Paralyze seemed to work, so I couldn't use 5 then 4. So I guess that teleport from 5, or the 5 kind of like, you know, pushes you back a little bit when she summons that Orb of Energy. That distance, I guess, was enough to get him out of range for that initial hit that applies the paralysis. So you just have to be right up on the Frost Beast, and that did get me a better score here. And I even missed a lot more damage procs in this particular run than I did on the run that you saw, where I got the 1.8 million. So this could go even higher for my current build as well. So I might be able to get like 2.5 million, I believe, with Jean here. If I hadn't messed up so many of the procs, especially on the tier 3 skill, then I could have gotten a better score. But either way, now let's really move into the wrap up, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Jean. Alright, so that was a in-depth look at Jean here for her PvE value, for Giant Boss Raid, for Alliance Battle Extreme, and for World Boss Ultimate. She performed very well in all of the categories. So for World Boss Ultimate, she was able to do stage 60 for Cole, so she's above stage 50, which is fantastic because that means you're getting the mythic booty boxes for the world bosses. And for Ebony, she was pushing up to stage 70, so she can go quite high there, and that'll be more valuable in the future if we start getting better rewards the higher you can push in World Boss Ultimate, because as of right now, the rewards don't really seem to change much outside of the booty box rarities. And then if we move over to Alliance Battle Extreme, she was able to put up over 2 million there in terms of the points. She did 2.25 million, so that's actually a quite respectable score. Again, I don't really play Alliance Battle too much, so I'm not really too familiar with the, you know, exact movements and what I should look out for, what I should dodge to kind of maximize my score. So you could probably get a better score out of her if you actually know what you're doing there in Alliance Battle Extreme. But for me, she did do a good job. She put up a good score, and I'm happy with her results there. And then if we look at GBR, she was able to completely solo Galactus with just the 200% regular obelisk proc here. So that's quite impressive. So she has very good raw damage. A lot of that, again, is coming from her tier 3. So to get anywhere close to what you were seeing today from my Jean, you are going to need her at tier 3, even if you have better cards than me. If you have her decked out with all Urus, or Odin's Blessings, I mean, you're still not going to be able to get close if you don't have her at tier 3, if you're just sitting on her at like level 70 but tier 2, mainly just because her tier 3 skill just hits really, really hard. And also she does have a very high, or she does have a lot of value in PvP as well. So overall, she's just a very strong character for most aspects of this game. So I would definitely recommend investing in her if you want a strong character that's well-rounded and can be used in multiple different game modes, instead of just a character that's kind of specialized for one particular thing. She can do everything pretty well with not too much investment, because she just has, like I said, a regular obelisk on her, not a CTP. So yeah, that's going to be my look at Jean here. Let me know what you thought about it, if you want me to include anything different in the future in terms of the testing. But for now, this is what we have as our criteria for these videos. So yeah, like I said, hopefully you're enjoying this series here. Let me know in the comments below so I know to keep making these. If you know, if I see that there's not many views on these, then maybe I'll just focus, whoop, hit my microphone, of course. Maybe I'll focus on something different instead. But for right now, I'm enjoying making these, so hopefully you guys are enjoying watching them. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video here. Hopefully you enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.